how much of that kind of thinking was on your mind when you went into Visions of a Life? Was there a sense of, okay, we've done that first album, let's try and go a little bit off center now?
There's very little kind of overarching method to what we do, to be honest.
Yeah.
And we take songs, we treat songs as singular kind of things, and you know, you do a writing session, you pick your best ones, that fit together. So there's less of a kind of umbrella, like an ideological umbrella or whatever, that we say this album is going to be this, and then go about writing it. We think that can kind of compromise your work a little bit.
When does the sound arise, and is it in the studio, or is it in?
It's many stages.
Yeah.
I mean, you usually, you know, someone will do a demo of something, then there'll be a kind of played through version, there might be a live version, and then there might be a couple of recorded versions, a pre-production version, and then, you know, you're talking about a proper recorded version, so you may be talking, you know, seven versions of a song or working through an idea before it finally gets realized. So it's a fairly long process.
What is the decision making like in that process? Because I can imagine that it's quite difficult.
If it sounds good, you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
And if you get outvoted, then you're tough luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Democracy.
But for instance, because sonically, one of the songs I like in particular is Planet Hunter. It has this fuzzy guitar sound all of the song, and so that kind of stuff. In what stage of it is that? Just one of the stages where that arises, that kind of sound and the idea.
Well, that particular sound.
Did that for that intro for it, didn't we?
I think that sound was came about maybe in like the second or third stage of demoing or something like that. I think Ellie had written a song called Planet Hunter that resembled what Planet Hunter is now. And we may have played it live, and I think one of the early recordings was just messing around with pedals and those kind of sounds came up, but yeah, they can happen in any. It's nice if you get them first time.
Right.
It's a bit scary if you're waiting to the end.
But, well, I'm thinking, when Ellie, I don't know if the lyrics are always done before the whole process of a song starts, or...
There's usually an editing process, but I mean, she's usually, in terms of lyrics, she's usually pretty formed, I think, right?
Yeah. Well, at least things she's given us have got, you know, stuff like Dudley the Kisses, I don't think any of that changed. And that's quite a lyrical, lyric-driven song.
Does that influence then kind of how you approach the sonic landscape?
Yeah, completely, 100%.
Planet Hunter, I remember we were working out the dynamics for that second half, the second verse, and it was like to go up and down with the words and stuff like that. Like when you're working with someone like a lyricist like Ellie, you can't just like plow through songs. Do you know what I mean? You have to take stock of what you're being given because it's so good, and it's really fun to write to. We don't like shy away too much from it getting kind of not theatrical, but the dynamics following lyrics and stuff, almost like you would have in like a more of a show kind of song. And I think at the last time with Justin, we were talking about things like that, and it was super fun to hone in on different lines and stuff.
And then, do you question her about the lyrics, or is that completely her thing?
I think we question each other about
do.
everything. Yeah. But it's usually really good, so just keep them out.
Yeah, she's annoyingly good at writing lyrics, so yeah.
But I can imagine, because there is some personal things. Sometimes there's a look outside. I mean, I saw a post about, which is I assume collectively from the band, but about politics. So those kind of things. Is that a collective thing?
It has to be. It has to be a collective decision to do it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what struck me about, well, especially in this day and age, artists are getting more political, which has a couple of obvious reasons. But what I found interesting was that the comments were 50-50. One half says artists should just make music and shut up, and the other half said no, they have a platform, they should speak out. So why did you go for the latter one? What was your reason?
Because we're human beings and we're entitled to our own opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just seems. I think it's just like, if you're not into the tweets and the Facebook posts that we do that we think are, you know, actually quite personal to us, like the band is personal to us, then surely that's what they can. Those people should ignore that and just focus on the music rather than us ignoring every single, you know, thing that's happening around us and us having to be the ones that keep quiet. Why don't they just listen to the album? Rather, they have to go and see that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than us not being the ones saying it and trying to do some good through doing it, you know.
But is that a difficult thing, being sort of? I mean, I can post anything I like and nobody's going to say anything.
But it's the nature of talking to that many people, you know?
Yeah.
If you were to say something, if on stage I was to say something regarding a political issue, you know, if there's a couple of thousand people there, a couple will disagree with you.
Yeah.
And if you're talking on a forum like Twitter, which is, you know, essentially like the old Greek thought forum or whatever, where anyone can say anything, and people are going to disagree, but that's part of it. It's good. I don't think there's anything wrong with disagreement. Yeah, disagreement can strengthen your views or they can question them. Yeah, it's an all important part of it, and they're entitled to their views as well, even if they may be wrong.
Fair enough. Going to playing live then, because we kind of talked about the writing process. How much, to what extent are you aware of the live performances when you write the songs, when you're still in the studio and in pre-production?
I think when you first start, you do have this fear of like, oh God, we don't have a keyboard player, so we can't put a keyboard part in. And you realise you're just going to regret not putting in the keyboard part in your album that's going to be around forever, you know? So you should just work that stuff out later. We just do whatever's best for the song and then work out how many limbs everyone has to play these other parts, you know? We don't use track or anything like that for any of the songs, and everything's very much just being played by somebody at some point, you know, every sound. And we kind of pride ourselves on that, so it just means you've got to give up about 2 months of your life to rehearse, you know, continually.
What was the song that gave you the most trouble, but you're really happy that it kind of translation from studio to live really worked?
For me, it will always be Silk. I still don't think I play that song right. Yeah, I still don't think I like do the beat the right thing, but that's fun.
And for you?
I mean, nothing in particular. We got a little bit of help with Don't Delete the Kisses because we're not too keyboard savvy. That was more of a technical issue, really.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We all had just so much. I mean, I thought I was like, how are we going to do Visions of a Life then? But because of the way we recorded it, and we just recorded it like almost as if how we do it on the stage, you know, actually that was one of the easier ones, even though it's 8 minutes long and does all these different bits. And, you know, so that was a relief.
and looking forward to the future, then does that attitude, Joff, that you mentioned, then help in kind of developing the sound of the band as well? Where you say, well, you mentioned the keyboard and the synthesizer. Does that help in? I'm not sure if you started yet, but thinking about next records and songwriting.
Oh, it's all going to be synths, yeah.
No, but,
like craft work.
No, but I can imagine that well, what you say, that you just think of the song at that time and what you can play, and then that develops each album, I suppose.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, you always learn things throughout all of the processes that will hopefully help you in your future writing endeavours. So, yeah. I've got a keyboard there now, so you know.
Have you started thinking about the next, or is it way too early for that?
We started. We're kind of always thinking about it. You know, people just write. That's kind of what we do. There's been no kind of formal get-togethers, no great meeting of minds about what we want to do in an overarching sense. But we'll be having those discussions soon.
Yeah.
Final question, and it kind of ties in with the synthesizer thing. But you've been heralded as at least when I did research last week, you've been heralded by a lot of publications as kind of the savior of British guitar music. What is that like for you to be called that?
British guitar music doesn't need saving, I don't think.
Yeah, I think we've always said that. I think it's just because when it's in the mainstream, only certain things sometimes filter through to that channel, but there's so much going on in the background that people maybe aren't aware of, and it's always been really exciting, I think. So I've just lost my microphone. I'm not doing very well with this microphone during this interview.
Yeah, but yeah, regardless of media attention, there's always been a rock or guitar scene.
Right.
It's dependent on who's picking up what. I mean, you know.
This is maybe a weird question, but do you know maybe why you've kind of filtered through to a larger audience?
To avoid sounding arrogant, no.
Yeah. I've thought of another thing Joff can do that you taught me. Do the grass thing. Although I haven't actually learned how to do it.
I don't know if this is a
that
good enough
bit of
piece of grass. This is a wildlife trick.
There you go.
Excellent. On that note, gentlemen, thank you very much
Thank
for your
you.
time.